we teach one thing, the professional working actor diploma. We get great results. Most of our graduates are on different films, television shows, and video games around the world. And that's it. We teach a thing, and we teach it well.
How can a set of skills lead you down the path to success? That's what we're setting out to answer on the Ed Up Canada podcast. I'm your host, Michael Sangster. Join me as we unpack how leaders around the world have taken training and skills and turned that into a lasting career. Now let's learn together. Welcome back to the Ed Up Canada podcast. I'm Michael Sangster, your host, and I am joined today by a gentleman I've gotten to know, met him once, and all of a sudden it's like 5 or 6 times I'm on Teams meetings with him and chats with him and getting to know him. Super friendly guy, the kind of guy you can sit down with for a 15-minute book session, and next thing you know, it's an hour and a half gone because you've chatted and you've shared ideas and thoughts. And I'm joined by the president and CEO of the Story Institute, Michael Coleman, based out of Vancouver, British Columbia, runs a career college out there doing really unique things. And one of the things I like to talk about in our sector is that we're not just doing PSW training or nursing. There's a whole bunch of other stuff we do that has an impact that I've had the fortune of learning about in this job that I would never have thought about. So, Michael, introduce yourself, a little bit of your background. The Story Institute we'll get into, but what's your story and why are you running this college?
Sure. Yeah. No, thanks. One of the reasons I started Story Institute was when I graduated high school, I went through a traditional public, more academic route, as was more common back in the day for film and television. And there's a million and one different ways to get to where we go. But back then we used to have a saying like, we're going to teach you all the skills, and then how the heck you're going to learn how to apply that to TV or anything like that. That's really up to you. And I always felt that was maybe something that should have been, the responsibility of the institutions. So I left, the traditional academic post-secondary pretty early and just hired a bunch of people that were working already in the industry and just said, just teach me what you do. I just want real world terms. And, long story long, we ended up creating an institute, many years later that I wish I could have gone to when I was first starting out.
So what is the Story Institute? Because we've jumped past like everybody knows what you do. You're building the little nooks and crannies and different things that were going on in different corners, a little studio here, a classroom here. Talk to me about the Institute and what it is you're doing.
So what we do is we are a more practical approach to the film and television industry, whether you be as an actor or as a filmmaker. And my personal belief is that if you look historically at everybody that's had any success in this industry at any level, whether you're doing the Tonight Show or not, most of us just have multiple revenue streams. We learn how to create our own work. We learn how to work in the mainstream. And it's a combination of just having a bunch of irons in the fire. It's actually not as hard to make a living as a creative individual as many people think. And that's basically what we teach. We teach you, it's not show friendship, it's show business. So we teach you the business side of the show.
You're teaching acting. What are some of the programs?
So we're a unique thing. We teach one thing, the professional working actor diploma. We're a super micro school. We get great results. Most of our graduates are on different films, television shows, and video games around the world. And that's it. We teach a thing, and we teach it well.
And programs up to a year, I think is what I'm looking at, or is it beyond that as well?
A 1-year program, a 1-year diploma program. You could technically take it as a 6-month certificate program if you were interested in leaning into just independent or just mainstream work. Again, our secret sauce is we believe everybody should be able to work in both the independent and mainstream world. That's how most of us have steady, consistent revenues.
And you use the word micro college. Let me reframe that. You are regulated by the province of British Columbia, are you not?
We are.
You're a college. It's not a little pop-up stand on the side of a street, or you happen to be in the second floor of a long street building. But you're not a little pop-up place, right? You're regulated by the province, and you've got challenges that go along with that.
Yeah, no, and we pay pretty hefty fees, and we go through all the same, annual review engagements and all the super fun regulatory things, just like everybody else. We just do it with a few less students per year.
You think your secret sauce, though, isn't it? Is that small classroom size, that little group that gets together and talks about things and works together and gets to know each other.
Yeah, for our particular model, it wouldn't work any other way. So when we were measuring the success of what we want to do, there are bigger schools that, proudly boast hundreds of students in what we would do, but we proudly boast that our students work more. So we had to make a choice as to, are we going to do quantity or quality in terms of how we do it, and quality ended up taking front and center.
You do youth classes, you do other 10-week programs. I was looking at, I thought the voiceover one kind of caught my attention. And that's somebody who can go off and in 10 weeks, if I was reading this right, $199, but that could lead to work. And if nothing else, it's going to lead to a greater skill of public speaking, talking out loud, those kinds of things that can help you anywhere.
For sure. Well, and again, with our unique model, it's a combination of, mainstream and independent. So a lot of people think if you're going to be an actor, the first big obstacle is to try to get that agent. And then once you have that agent, it's try to get those auditions and then try to book those, et cetera, et cetera. But there's so many people so focused, their whole business plan is just sitting there waiting for their phone to ring. And that's not a business plan. So we show people how to go out there and get your work yourself as well. So yeah, in 10 weeks, you can be taking 2.5 months worth of classes or whatever it is. And you can post a profile online and start auditioning the next morning for professional work.
It reminds me of the old phrase, hope is a strategy. It's a bad strategy, but it is a strategy.
It is a strategy. Yeah. What's unique in our industry is that there's a lot of different ways to get there, as I said, but a lot of other schools don't have the same focus as we have. And we're happy to be in a different ocean doing different things.
So talk to me about film. I'm sitting here in boring old Ottawa. I'm old enough to remember Alan Fotheringham, who said Ottawa was the city that fun forgot. Vancouver, I had the pleasure when I worked at TELUS of spending a lot of time in Vancouver. It's a vibrant community full of activity, but a fantastic television and film production industry, isn't there?
It is. Yeah. There's a lot of reasons that people come here. We're less than a 2.5 hour flight to LA. We're in the same time zone. So a lot of the Los Angeles people work up here because they still want to have normal lives and call their kids on a lunch break or touch base with home. Or we also only have moderate weather. If it's -1 degrees, we all shut down for a day. It never gets too hot, never gets too cold. You can shoot outside all year round. You're half an hour from a beach, a mountain, a desert, whatever the heck you need it to be. It's a good little town. It's still magic here. If you walk around this, meeting any of the people that are the films crew, we're not third, fourth, fifth generation film crew. So this is still a really cool thing. And there's a lot of love and respect. So it's a good industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry here. There's absolutely no reason we can't have a little piece of it here for some of the locals at home.
The rest of the country does laugh every time you try and drive in the snow, though.
Yeah, we do too. That's why, we're pretty close to banning snow here. It's just, we're not able to do it, and that's okay. We do other things well.
6-foot snowbank in my front yard. You're winning compared to me, but we go back to this sector. So I'm a critic of our sector, and let's just say, why do we need career colleges? What do they actually do? What's the point of having a story institute that only has 10 students there this week or 20 students next week? What's the point? Why do we care? The economic spin-off for British Columbia is huge, isn't it? Every time a TV production or a film production rolls into town.
We're one of the top industries in town. And the interesting thing is that, majority of the working actors have gone through one of these private career training institutes. Like, this is a big multi-billion industry that also brings other, work to other sectors as well. Restaurants, hotels, there's so many other people like that benefit when we have a film industry here. So we're lucky, and I think we're going to keep growing. We got some of the biggest shows going on right now, and it has its ups and downs, but its downs aren't that low, and its ups keep getting higher. So
I wanted to touch on it because it is an ecosystem of training, and there's a LaSalle College might be training in Vancouver the culinary students that are doing the food services for that movie production.
For sure.
Another college might be training the heavy equipment operator that's running a crane and running a truck unit. And Sprott Shaw might be training the administrative people that come in and run that production. There's so many things that go into a movie or a TV production.
There are, it employs so many people in the province, and they need to get the skills to get onto set, whether you're in front of the camera or behind the camera. And there's a lot of different roles.
So I go through your 1-year diploma program. What do I leave with?
So yeah, there's a few things. So number one, we always consider it the first chapter of many. So when you graduate with us, that's where the real fun just begins. So we actually provide ongoing lifetime mentorship and guidance for free. Students are encouraged to come back as alumni to sit in on classes and participate to stay sharp. So there's a few things that we do that are a little different. You graduate with a world-class demo package. So you have a demo reel, photos, voiceover demo, headshots, cover letters specifically designed for specific agents, everything an actor could ever need. And you also graduate with a few IMDb credits because we actually make projects that we look to distribute professionally while you're in the program. This is an industry where you need experience or education in order to, get in the front door. And when you graduate, you have both experience and education. It makes you a slam dunk.
I love your free half-day class. Come in and audit a class. I think it's a really neat idea. That's a continuously running kind of program. I noticed on your website people can book that.
Yeah, so we do it once a month. It's become our number one tool in meeting people that are potential students for the school. It's a great opportunity to say, this is what it looks like. This is what it smells like. Come try it out. If you like it, let's keep talking. If you don't like it, then you had a really cool day and you can cross it off your bucket list.
I noticed you've got some coming up. It'll be just a day or so after this airs, but a voiceover demo class too that you're doing. Do you do those regularly?
Yeah, we do. We do our voiceover demo classes. We do probably, I guess it's every 3 months right now. We have one, and we've created some of the top voiceover demos throughout the world, and it's one of the things we have the most fun doing.
Got a famous graduate, or maybe not a famous one, a great story of someone that you absolutely loved working with?
Yeah, no, I've got quite a few actually. So I remember one of my favorite stories is, I was a big fan of a TV series called The Handmaid's Tale. And I remember watching The Handmaid's Tale and just falling madly in love with the character. And then I realized about 3 or 4 episodes in, it used to be one of my students. So I had to call her and I'm like, oh my God, are you in The Handmaid's Tale? I think you're my favorite character on the show. And so that's pretty cool. And a bunch of actors on like Letterkenny and Shoresy and a bunch of those guys. Those are all old students of mine.
Did you get one of the Jims from Shoresy? Jim, and Jim?
Yeah. No, I'm actually doing a fan convention in a couple of weeks with a bunch of the Shoresy guys, including my former student. She plays Tassia Tellis. She kind of runs the whole team over there. She's the big top dog. So
it's one of my favorite shows, the Shoresy ones. It's not for everybody.
It's a good crew. It's a good group of people.
There seems to be a genuine excitement amongst that crew of just how successful they've been too. Like they're not taking it for granted. They're really thoroughly enjoying the experience, doing charity events and hockey events, and seem really like good people.
Small sort of behind the scenes story. The guys who do Shoresy, they used to do a show called Letterkenny, and the guy that he co-produced Letterkenny with went on to do Heated Rivalry. So Letterkenny spawned Heated Rivalry, and Shoresy, if you look at it in the right way.
That's funny. Slightly different television, but another great Canadian success story.
Yeah.
Has there been a student, somebody that just, maybe you felt like you got more out of them than they got out of you? Like you just took so much energy out of what they brought to it, or it got you charged up about, I'm doing what I need to be doing?
Yeah, I would say it's more than one. It's numerous, and it's just they become the epitome of, success is a journey, not a destination. And you look at them pursuing something with every ounce of effort that brings them all the joy in the world, and they're not looking for, expectations. They're just approaching the whole damn thing with gratitude and realizing this is what I'm going after, and it's funny, there's a few that stand out and they came in with no expectations and every desire and every hope that they would book something cool. And some of them booked some pretty cool things, some pretty massive things. One student booked a big movie that shot here a bunch of years ago called Big Eyes with Christoph Waltz. And she was somebody who was just here because this is what she wanted to learn at the highest level. And she did. And that was going to be good enough if all it ever was. And we kept telling her, you can actually book work and this can be a thing. And sure enough, it did. It worked out well for her. So
one of the things I liked about your site, and I'm assuming you don't have many international students currently, but your fee structure between a domestic and international student was very similar, wasn't it?
It's an interesting thing. So for me, I don't have recruiters or satellite locations. We have students that come from all over the world. We only get to have 3 a year because of the current international restrictions. We have students that literally come from, Africa, Asia, Europe, South America, Central America, all over the place. And I don't spend an extra penny bringing them in. I just don't. So it just, from a moral standpoint, it felt weird to jack the prices for us. We didn't have expenses that could justify a price hike. So I understand where other people might have to, but
covering some of your fees, you do have a little bit of an increased expense with some international students, things you have to do, right? So I was impressed with that. I do say that a lot.
We do have some fees, but we try to put everything in check and try to do everything authentically and transparently and kindly.
Do you have a good feel, a good vibe about the value students get back for the education they put into their career? Like, do they get a good return on investment?
Without question. Without question. Like, if you sat there, it takes me about 15 minutes or less with a pen and paper and just show people this modest investment is almost impossible not to have a return on if you just show up every day. And it's literally that. You can get out of bed and just do the work. The expectations aren't anything more than incremental progress every day. When students do that, it has historically been amazing. And again, as one of these boutique schools, we have the ability to spend a lot of one-on-one time with our people. So I know the name of every student that comes through from beginning to end, all the way back to the beginning.
I love that. Boutique school. You're not a small school, you're a boutique school, college. It speaks to the experience a student's going to get. We ask every guest a couple of questions. So I'm going to ask you one first now. What's a skill that made Michael successful that would also maybe be relevant for the students that come into your school, your college? But what is that skill? And did you have it early in life, or is it something that you developed?
I think it's something that was given to me by an old retail boss, and it was just the value of creating habits. So on the very first day of class, we actually make every student agree to read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And good habits make good foundations. People that develop good habits, even your worst day is better than most people's best day. You just need habits.
I'm devouring a book right now called Atomic Habits.
Oh, okay.
Every day moving forward with habits that just force. And I'm already starting to change my routine a little bit. I'm getting up every morning earlier, half an hour earlier, and just trying to create a new habit. And interestingly, one of them that I've developed recently is just I'm sitting down and having a cup of coffee before I look at my phone, before I get my brain somewhere else, and just kind of taking the day in for a moment before I start work.
I love that. Yeah, I've got some pretty hardcore habits myself, but it allows me the opportunity to pursue everything I've ever wanted to do in this life.
That's awesome. And maybe you're going to mention the same gentleman, but we talk about this. A mentor. Do you have a mentor that changed your path? An individual? One of the reason I talk about this topic, and we put out Mentor Monday comments sometimes where we reframe this. That's what career colleges are about. Whether they're at 1,200 students or 20 students, it's about mentoring on a daily basis because nobody ever has massive classrooms in a career college. So I never hear beyond 30. But rarely is it more than 10 to 12 to 15 in a group. So can you talk to me about the mentor in your life that made a difference? And then I ask people to clarify this at the end. Do you think that person knows that they were a mentor to you?
I would say, yeah, mine's actually a really easy answer. Mine is, his name's Robert Jacques. He lives over in Paris now, but he was my grade 12 drama teacher. And he's one of the first people that he got rid of the ceiling. Even as a 17-year-old kid from Surrey, he made it very, very clear that literally anybody can do anything if they just put their mind to it. And what's really lovely is we're all still connected. Decades of graduates who considered him one of their first and favorite teachers. And he still talks to each and every one of us. He's still the one I go to. He's still the one I would ask any creative questions. Even as somebody who's considered an expert in this field myself, I still go to my grade 12 drama teacher when I have a moral or academic question I'm not sure how to navigate. He'd be the one I'd call first. And I think he knows. We all stay in pretty close contact with him, and he's led a good life with what he's done.
You've acted. You've had shows. You've been on the stage and on film, haven't you? Talk to us a little bit about your own success, because there's some neat stories here that I didn't realize when we first met.
Yeah, I played a role on a television series called Once Upon a Time for 6 years, and then I did shows like Supernatural. I was on a couple different Stargates. I've written or performed in numerous Hallmark things as a voice actor. I've been in everything from Moana 2 to Dragon Ball Z, Hello Kitty. Been a professional for a little over 35 years. I'm actually one of the busiest writers in the industry right now when it comes to the new vertical platform. So wrote 20 films last year and did all that at the same time of running this school.
You're not writing any of those Hallmark Christmas movies I have to watch with family, are you?
I am. I've always got a couple in development. So I've been in pitch meetings about one recently.
I chuckle because I recently sold a restaurant that I owned, and we filmed a few around us in a little town outside Ottawa. Those things they have an economic impact in a small town.
That's exactly it. Hallmarks have been a big thing for Canada. There's been quite a few. But the vertical shorts or the micro dramas that we're doing now, they're having an impact. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of opportunities for us to work together.
Do you have a message for anybody thinking about getting into acting? What the best steps are to take?
I would say, yeah, just treat it like any other industry. We have this thing where we glorify either superstardom or poverty. And you only ever see actors on The Tonight Show talking about how they lived in their car until they became multimillionaires. Reality is that's a very small fraction of who we are. 80 to 90% of us get up every morning. Nobody knows who the heck we are. We could be on some of the most popular TV shows or films in the world. Nobody gets excited when they bump into us at Save On Foods. This is just a real career. If you want to be a doctor, go to med school. If you want to just give mouth to mouth, you can take a couple weekend lifeguard courses. We teach people how to be doctors. This is a real industry. It's a skill. It's a craft. It's a learned thing. It was never about being popular or outgoing. It's about understanding how to recreate human behavior. Anybody can do that. As long as you've been a human, you can figure this out.
What a fantastic message. Just say out loud, because you and I have chatted about it, and you've gotten involved with our British Columbia Association out there. What about a message about career colleges? What if somebody was looking at a career college that it's kind of, I don't want to say looking down their nose, but is skeptical of our sector? What would you say about go? Because you've gotten to know some other colleges now too in the last year and a half, and I think you've developed a really unique perspective on our sector.
Yeah, I would say the number one thing to consider is that most of us who are in this sector, we do it from a different lived experience. And again, I'm going to go back to there's no right or wrong way to do anything in life. But for the longest time in my industry, for example, we always went through these big academic public institutions, these universities and stuff. And they did a lot of neat things, but they also ran into a lot of red tape and they couldn't teach you what you needed to know. They could teach you what we've always been teaching. And as a career college, I had the luxury of saying, well, let's not teach what should work philosophically or theoretically. Let's teach what works practically and offer a different option for people who would like to take that approach. For me, it's a no-brainer. I would only do this approach. But to me, that's the biggest difference is that we still have all the same regulations and pay all the same fees and have to go through all the same silliness that the public schools do. We just have a slightly more practical mindset in many cases.
And in some cases, we have to go through more regulation.
For sure.
But we don't fight it. Let's just get through it, get it done, and hopefully as fast as possible, get government to sign off on the different things we're trying to do. I want to divert because you just took me somewhere. You need an advisory group to even advise you on your own programs too, don't you?
We do, yeah.
And they have to sign off on the curriculum and everything around your program. You're not just getting in a room and chatting. There is a science behind it. There's a curriculum behind the programs you're teaching.
Yeah, and our program advisory committee is made up of writers, directors, producers, and people that are series leads. Like hey, you guys are all the ones working in the industry right now at this second. What should our guys be knowing when they get out of school? And it's real world, up to date knowledge. It's like a living contract with these people. It's just we evolve as the industry evolves, and that's a big part of what a career college should do and often does versus what a public school will do.
I'm just taking a peek through your faculty page here as part of that, and it's quite interesting to see the Hallmark logo now does pop out at me, but the number of series and major productions that your faculty have been involved in.
Yeah, we've got Emmy nominated, instructors. We got people that are on some of the biggest movies, TV shows, cartoons in the world right now. It makes scheduling difficult because they're on set. So, but that's again, teach people what's working now, not what should theoretically work at some time.
You're getting real life experience from your instructors right directly into those students.
That's the thing, our proof is in the pudding. We practice what we preach.
Anything else that you want to tell our listeners about the Story Institute? And I should tell you all, you can find it at storyinstitute.ca. But anything you want to say before we sign off?
You know what? We take people from all over the world. If this is something you want to do, it doesn't cost anything to just make a call and ask, what does it look like?
We didn't touch on online and in person of how you train these programs.
We have options right now that we do either or. We always think the in-person is going to be more advantageous. We openly say that. But for people where that's not a possibility, we do have a very effective program that works incredibly well if you have the obstacle of travel.
I saw a little bit of that when we were there one day. Someone, I believe, was getting some lessons online, and it was quite interesting to watch the interaction. And then what I was trying to touch on earlier was these little corners with little voiceover rooms, weren't there, and recording rooms. It was a really neat little layout.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We have a good time. It's just a big old cool fort where we get to do, make movies and cartoons all day. So it's not a bad life.
It was the old joke. I'm happy to invite you to my blanket fort anytime, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate you joining us today. I appreciate for your engagement too with the broader sector. You've been a breath of fresh air around the BC group. And they're all kind of sitting around going, who's that guy? What's he talking about? And it's been fun to get to know you a little bit, Michael. So with that, we'll thank you for joining us today. And we'll ask everybody to come back and join us again next week on the next edition of the EdUp Canada podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the EdUp Canada podcast. We release new episodes regularly, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you know when they are officially out. If you love this episode, please leave a 4 or 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast so that others can also discover how a set of skills can lead to success. Thanks for learning with us.